Google Meet also. You left Google Meet long time back.
I didn't even realize it. सही बताऊं
Oh,
तो क्योंकि like my entire screen is full screen on the
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So just
conscious.
go back to not even here. We were at. You were talking about these guys. You were talking about
Oh,
the
I
key
have.
personnel second slide.
If it makes you feel better, I have went 8 slides ahead यहाँ से, but okay.
Why will it make us feel better, man?
मेरे को तो अच्छा नहीं लग रहा ना, but चलो कोई नहीं. I would just give a brief again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this slide was done. You can move to the next slide.
Did I mention the scrutiny
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the
You
Bhaskar?
mentioned your apprehensions about Bhaskar and
Yeah.
Nilanjan. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Vivek Gupta, a person who is like qualified enough to be chairman, 20% years in C-level roles, JMD, and also graduate from good schools. Santosh Kumar is also quite qualified in for being a compliance officer and is also has 18 plus experience in the field of secretarial and legal handling. So yeah, good people here. Ownership structure. Now we would look at the overall ownership structure. They have 2.88 crores of outstanding shares. Their promoter holding has decreased from around 55 to 51% in last few years. Their DI, like direct institutional investors, almost doubled their holding to around 5.5%, but that was at the expense of public holding. The majority are retail investor holders. There is Sumar Viaj and Tusk Investments holding around 3% of the company. There is promoter holding at 51%. Now, in this, there is Chandbhag Investment who is at holding 39%. If you look into the directors of this company, it's Ajay Kumar, Shekhar and Madhvi Swarup, all of whom are related parties. So indirectly, they are holding the entire company's majority stake. Ajay Kumar is the like directly the highest holder at 6.68. Shekhar, his son, is also at 2.66. Globus Infosys is like 2% holder, and Madhvi Swarup is like the director of that company. The company is effectively holding like Swarup name is holding that, and there are overall 9 board of directors. And in the forensic parts, I covered that they have majority of them are independent. So good on that regard. Overall company financials, there is like 3,500 market crores, cap share price at 1,222. So overall sales growth 15%, profit growth 14%, ROE 13%, 10 years, and debt to equity 0.33. Now we will look into deep into each of these aspects. First is the sales and gross margins. Like you would look at the gross profits, they have stagnated at 2.29% in the 21-22. But the like percentage didn't grow much. The company mainly said that they weren't able to also achieve their increased revenue growth of 1600 around that regard, 1700 around that regard was due to the fact that the prices inflated and they weren't able to immediately pass it off, and their profitability in the financial year 2023 rose because due to the fact that they claim that the coal prices cooled down in globally, but the grain prices of inputs didn't move much. The EBITDA to EBITDA percentage has a stagnation at 21% in the standalone figures. But if you look at the consolidated figures on Screener, the EBITDA percentage has fell to around 11% in financial year 21. This is mainly due to the fact that the Unibev subsidiary is like really like loss making one, is also like holding the company back a bit, and one of the like things I would be very critical about for the company. Moving forward to the margins that contracted in 23, the company didn't give an exact reason. They kept blabbering about that maintenance breaks were reason for that. There was loss of sales, there was price hikes. That's why they weren't able to defend this. But I'm not entirely sure what the exact reason is. So the gross margin to EBITDA conversion is showing also a similar pattern. The debt to equity of the sorry The debt to equity of the company is also historically under one, which is one of the facts that I like about this company, because that they don't go that much deep into debt unless they can manage it. The majority of debt is either used for plant upgradation or is done for maintenance expenditure. They don't use it for their working capitals and stuff like that. Like, majority of it does not go into consumption, but for expansion. The company also gave a guidance that they would do 160 crore capex on the Orissa plant, and 120 crores would be through debt, and around like a good person, like around half of it is already been borrowed in this period, as per my assumptions. But Yeah, this ratio is expected to go a bit higher, but not really out of control. So that on that note, we should look a bit deep into the borrowings part. They have a debt service coverage ratio of 0.79, 14.5 interest service coverage. Between 2020 to 2023, their debt rose from 180 to 291 crores. And as per the guidance, they would increase the uh, debt. And if you look at the graph, the majority of debt was long term in 2020, but increased become short term in 23. So the company either has to refinance or pay back this debt. But they have a good internal cash flow generation too, so it's not much of an issue. And they also have a, I would be able to pay interest because like almost 15 times the interest service ratio. The company overall have a 0.33 in this debt debt to equity ratio, but if like as per their guidance they would increase it, but if they don't like effectively manage it, it might spiral out of control. But chances of it would be like really low because the company's management seems to be competent enough. And there is also that the company is like having and paying an interest about 6 to 7% on the current debt, and is stating that they already have tie-ups and ensured us that they would be borrowing the further like money at 4% interest rate. This would be highlighted a bit more in the valuation sheet. This was the part that I covered when I disconnected. And now, moving forward to the asset turnovers and net fixed asset turnover, the company's asset turnover is as per the industry level when looked at screener, though it's not that reliable factor, but yeah, a point worth mentioning. The company would continue to like increase their turnover ratios because the Haryana plant. Now, if you would remember, I said that the overall operational efficiency in financial year 22 was lower, and is now the company is trying to increase it. The companies had an overall efficiency around uh, 90%, and this 85% had been a like bit of a downturn for the company. But due to the Haryana and the Bihar plant being hit by floods, but now the company is trying to improve this figure and is expected to like really ramp it up in the later years. But there would be a decrease on the like flip side of the coin, mainly due to the fact that the company also stated that it takes them like around 2 to 3 years to turn over the new plants. So when Orissa and the UP plant comes into like overall usage, that would decrease the company's ratio for like expected 2 to 3 years. The cash conversion cycle the company was operating at a negative working cycle at 20 financial year 22, but if you would see the working days of working capital, it has been on a steady rise. The reason for that the company gave us at again the maintenance with government regulations, but in my understanding, the company needs to focus a bit more on the operational efficiency of each plant to like decrease these numbers, because if they keep ramping up without ensuring they are operating at maximum efficiency, like over a period of time, I don't want them to do it immediately, but over a period of time, that would affect the company in the wrong way. So yeah. So the moving forward to ROE and ROC, the company had a bit high of an ROC in 21-22 when they saw that increase. They saw that increase in the overall ratio. Their ROE was also trading near at like 25%, but both of these figures fell mainly due to the fact that the company's overall profitability got hit, and that was seen in the gross profit value sheet where there was a downturn. And but they this was expected to go a bit more down, but they had an overall like increased financial leverage between the 2 years, which can be seen in this like highlighted part, which like prevented to ROE to go a bit more down. There is also the ROC, which is also showing a similar pattern to ROE. Now the price ratios, the company now this was the company that I was mentioning, Tilaknagar Industries. There were also a few companies as on the Sweden website and the BSC, but they weren't directly competing. These companies were directly competing in the consumer segment as well as like mainly in the consumer segment is what I looked at, but they are also competing in the overall manufacturing segment as well. But not I don't have like, the exact figures for that. The industry median is a screener figure, so you can ignore that if you would like. Would be a bit discrepancies due to the scale and the overall history, so take these numbers with a bit of spice. The median industry for the company in the last 4 years was 14.8. That was a screen. The last 5 years was 14.8 for Globus. The company is around trading at 2x. which is like 2x the what is like the overall median at this point, around 28-29%. But this is like expected due to the positive outlook, as you would have seen like the cup shift figure that we saw in the like screener website with at the beginning of this presentation, that there is a positive outlook for the market, by the market for screener, by for the Globus. There is also the fact that it is almost trading at median levels, but you can ignore that figure. But when we compare it to the industry leaders, it's like looks to be undervalued, but you can't say that there is a bit difference in scales. However, when compared to Tilaknagar Industries, this is an industry which is like has a very high variability, but from just price to earnings ratio, the like to like comparison is a bit difficult to make. That's why I had a price to book value ratio. Now, price to book value ratio is again, the company seems to be undervalued when compared to its peers as well as industry median. Bit of a spice in the numbers because the scale is different. But Tilaknagar Industry seems to be trading at a higher price to book value as compared to our Globus Spirit. So there is still a bit of like leeway that they could realize, and yeah, mainly due to the expansion plans that they have for future. So there is also sales and sales growth. This figure is completely noisy because the scale is so different that you can't even compare it. So that's why I went to the sales to growth percentage. Now the macroeconomic events showed a very different figure for the like every single industry, every single company in the industry, because if you see 2021, 22, 23, they had a negative to then a positive, but then again a declining sales growth. Globus, on the other hand, even though it had a rough time during the pandemic, which everybody had, you can see that their sales growth went to like negatives, but Globus was able to defend it, mainly due to the fact that they also started doing hand sanitizers and stuff like that, so they were quick to adapt. And Globus is also able to have a slight increase as compared to the other like companies which had a very decline. But when you look at Tilaknagar Industries, they were able to very easily like rebound back to like around from negative 15 to around 40-45% sales growth, mainly to the fact that they've really focused on their operational efficiency, and due to the lower base that was made by this, the sales growth skyrocketed. So yeah, that's a bit on the sales part. Now, I would mention the growth triggers because Gaurav sir mentioned that the growth triggers are the main aspects that would be looked at. First is the government policy. The states and the national government are really, now this policies is from the entirely consumer segment here in the starting, because the state and national government are trying to reduce illicit liquor. Now, illicit liquor is one which has a really high alcohol content, not FD or anything like that approved, and like is mainly responsible for actually killing people. So companies, the government is like, yeah, consume liquor, but don't go to the illicit liquor. It could be they're also taking steps for it. Like the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi is also trying to introduce a country liquor at 40% alcohol content to like curb this aspect. And if we look at the 17-18 policies, that grain ethanol blending in petrol as well as other aspects is really like favorable for the company, although it's like a 6-year-old policy, so not much impact on that could be seen now because the company would already has capitalized on it. The capex and expansion plans, the company has a lot of plans for capex, as shown in the previous slide. But if you look at the expansion part, on the top right, there is upcoming launches. The company is trying to launch premium rum, whiskey, and craft gin. This was the part that I mentioned that would be launched with like the gin wala part. And there is also a single malt segment that they are launching and stuff like that. They're also trying to do that, they would repurpose their existing products into various other states, which would be covered in this part. So they are like selectively introducing various products in various states, but they are trying to do is like, sorry, overall launch each and every liquor in each and every state over a period of time. So yeah, that's a bit on the positive because they're expanding, although it can lead to a cannibalization of their existing products, but yeah, they say it's a good thing. There is raw material prices. Now this is quite interesting because the company in the last con call gave a guidance that they have 100% locked in the broken rice prices for the entire year, and have 50% coal prices input been locked in. That would like get them through the monsoon period, and this does provide them a sense of stability and able to project the cost and profitability. When looked at the price ranges in the grain aspect, they were saying that they are trading from anywhere from 19 to 2300 per quintillion, but they didn't give the exact number of where they are on these locked prices. So yeah, there is a bit of stability, but company is understanding that the input prices fluctuation is really affecting their profitability as seen earlier. So a good foresight. Rapid launch of they are aiming for 95% operational efficiency and launching new brands in other states. Now Rajasthan is the strongest state that the company is in. They have a 30% overall market share and a 50% plus value and value plus segment. These are the figures given by the company, but in my opinion, they are reflecting the actual because they have even long gone to the extent of launching a uh, Rajasthan focused he that was like he lunch or something. A product was launched for the Rajasthan segment purely on the basis of their culture. The Haryana, West Bengal, UP have seen around 2 years of operations by the company in the consumer segment, and they are like focusing on marketing strategies to penetrate them. Delhi is one of the most tricky markets for them because there is like the fact that they're able to they have been in the industry for like company in the state for like few years now, but aren't able to penetrate it that much. So a bit downturn on that regard. But key risk. Now, this would discuss the Unibev segment. Unibev was the part that was merged in 2021, mainly operating in IMFL segment. And as per the AOC1 form that they reported last time was that they were trading at 20.5 crores of loss in Unibev. And but they have been trying to really show us that they are like improving it. And it's also stated that the IMFL segment would have a three-digit growth this year as well, but like the last year they showed like a 37.4 crores premium segment revenue. This was the distribution that I think so Nirvana sir was asking. The which is like 700% up from last year. But this is a very uncertain variable. The company was like ensuring in the con call that they would have a three-digit growth in the IMFL segment and the overall premium segment as whole. But yeah, there is a bit of uncertainty there. CSR expenditure is was mentioned in industrial aspects. It's not a key risk, but it's a factor that's there. There is also overall industry factor on the geopolitical aspects that prices of raw materials may fluctuate, and as we have seen, it heavily impacts their profitability. And there is a government ban in various states that was imposed in like quite a few states like Bihar. And there is also a regulatory risk for ENA and ethanol-based products. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the presentation. Any
Great.
questions?
Oh, I had a question. The grain that they use, is it barley or are they using what are they using as their raw material?
Now this was the part that they said they are using broken rice, broken corn,
Broken rice.
broken rice, leftover corn, leftover wheat, but they don't provide an exact distribution of like kitna kya lag raha hai. But if you would look at how vodka is
Uh-huh.
made, how gin
Yeah,
is
yeah,
made, you
yeah.
can see which aspect requires more. If you need the exact numbers, you could just like add it in the feedback, and I would try to get the exact numbers we
No, no,
specify.
even I'll look into it. It's spurred my interest. Cool.
Uh, any other questions?
Nirvan, you have any questions?
No, man, no question. Just we can take a look at the valuation.
Okay, just give me a second. Uh,
So
okay, it's like
basically,
visual.
there would be a trigger when it's not visible yet.
I know. I was just like trying to like close it because Google Meet wasn't showing it. Yeah,
Okay,
just give me a second.
sure, sure. So basically, Nirvan, then the moment UP plant comes online, we would see a like a 10-15% jump, no re-rating happening.
Their new plants are in Odisha and UP, no? What they are trying
Yeah, yeah,
to.
UP. I think
Odisha and
Pratham
Uh,
said
UP.
that UP wala plant has all the permission. I mean, they have actually got some
okay,
of the permission.
There
okay,
is
okay.
two things. First is Odisha plant has been like already in construction is like one fourth complete. UP plant would be after Odisha, and all the
Correct.
permits are there. So they said they have all gained all the permits when they like last
So
spoke about it.
why did the stock rise in the last couple of weeks? Is it because of re-rating or some sales or some good news? Did you get a
So
chance to
their
see that?
margins have gone up, Gaurav. So they were doing 19% margin for 2 quarters. This quarter they suddenly went back to 14% margins, and they declared their results on.
When did they
Um,
declare?
clicked on
Should
that.
should
Oh
be
yeah,
before 11th May.
Yeah, I can't see the date here. They've not put the date on the declaration. Right, stupid. Yeah, but maybe result looks
31st
like
May,
it's
31st May. They have
31st May. Okay.
earnings calls.
Yeah, so from 31st May, it has
Oh,
gone up by around 27%. But even before, from 16th May, it has gone up by around 50%. So result date, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it has gone up significantly post that.
hmm.
Should I give
Yes,
my
please.
insight? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Firstly, if you would like directly see the screener figures, there is for these 3 years and this 2 years is different because the Unibev got merged in the company in 2021, and due to the fact that it was loss making and was later merged with the company, and that would affect their current figures. I have like given these three figures to be consolidated. Like these 3 years figures are taken consolidated, and the rest are taken at standalone to provide a fair like to like comparison, in my opinion. So yeah. These first, I would try to go through the historical figures. The company is trading at
So Pratham,
127.
till 2021, it's consolidated, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, just this should provide you a better
Yeah, yeah.
image. The material costs were like around 50 to in a band of 52 to 60 61%. So that's like an 8% band that they have in that regard. Their gross profits have been around 40 to 45, like 47%. Now, the manufacturing cost and the other cost was a question query that I asked on the group that it was all mentioned in other cost at 21%, but like there wasn't an exactly differentiation. So as per the historical figures, I divided the two at 5 and 16. So yeah, that's the reason for that. The band is also like it's also in line with their overall band. Ulta, they show that they have decreased it. As
So on screener, Pratham, this figure is 26%. What you're showing is 21%.
it
It's
was
reported as 26.
just give me a second. I'll just check it up. My other cost. Oh,
So it is. I mean,
I might have like skipped the number thoda sa cause I wasn't really unsure. So I would just update it abhi.
Yeah.
So if you just like see 26 maybe agar the assumption for this 5% might be like around 6% maybe. So
Yeah, because if power and fuel, etc., spiked, then it might be, yeah. It's okay. I mean, that's fine. I mean, ठीक है 26 टोटल है इसीलिए मैंने बोला कि स्प्लिट करो ना करो फर्क नहीं पड़ता मतलब you can
yeah.
model the two together also.
I
ठीक है.
guess if figures were not like directly linked to इनको भी
Yeah.
edit भी करना पड़ेगा. So just give me a second.
see, इस साल for sure there is going to be reduced rainfall uh, across the country. At least in economic times, what I'm seeing is uh, there is some amount of hoarding that is taking place. Initial signs of hoarding and all. कि prices बढ़ सकता है. So raw material costs
Right.
should go up. So maybe this
Right.
stock will give us some opportunity to get in. I mean, margin गिरेगा तो हट करके.
Right.
Then there's a stable employee cost. Then there is other costs also quite stable in the last few years. Now there is other income, interest expense, and depreciation. I have like these are just like factual figures, and their margins have also like if you remember that graph, there was like a very big drop, and there was a consistency, and then a drop. So you can like see those as well. Like there is a consistency, and then there is a big drop in the 2022 figures. In the 23 figures, sorry. So the taxes they are also like paying taxes in the 5% band from 28 to 32, 33, and their net profit margin in line with their EBITDA also fell from a consistency. These are all the factual figures at their EPS and stuff like that. Now I would try to like give my reasoning. I have only like forecasted for a single year because I wasn't entirely sure if those figures would be correct. So I'll
Yeah, and
try to
we'll just discuss the base case, Pratham.
Sure. So now the base case, is a second sheet where I have mentioned why because there could be a situation where you guys want to understand why that I have set that number. Now they have a 30% growth in the last 2 years, and I have modeled it to be 30% in the coming year as well. There are mainly five reasons for it. The first is that they said they are expecting a triple digit growth in the IMFL segment, and if they had said it like once, I would have like ignored it. Yeah, first taken it. They are just like trying to like give some salt, but they may like ensured the like overall like to look, people who were asking questions that they are sure that they would give a 30% triple digit growth in the IMFL wala part.
So this was 37 crore, right? This year?
Yeah,
This,
the premium segment was around. I would just give you the exact number.
yeah,
37 crore था.
37. So इसी को ये बोल रहे हैं कि 75 to 80 बन जाएगा ये।
Yeah.
100% अगर ग्रोथ लोगे तो डबल हो जाएगा।
हाँ, so they are saying कि हाँ हम बड़ा करेंगे ज़्यादा अच्छे से करेंगे. They showed like 700 last year, तो yeah there is a possibility they could give a 300 तक का percent का growth अच्छे से. But that's not like that's like literally a drop in the bucket. But the main reason what I said what why the 30% growth I expect to be consistent is the value plus segment. This is the segment that is like really constant. If you see, sorry, if you see in the standalone figures, there is all like a increase in the growth of sales by around 30%, and this value plus segment was like literally consistent. Even there was a 1% drop in the overall revenue that they contributed. So yeah, this segment is quite stable. Same goes for the franchise bottling segment. These are the two of the most stable segments, and the rest is based on the assumption that the company stated that they are expecting to grow really well in Haryana and West Bengal, and they would like really crack those states up. And sorry, and they would be the next Rajasthan for the company. But yeah, that's a good foresight. The reason for 30% growth, and there is also that they are also introducing new brands. So that's the main reason for why the 30% growth is to be assumed here. Now, the why the material cost is to be assumed at the it's basically an average of the last few years, but I first assumed this number and then I calculated the average. The numbers are more or less same. First was mainly due to the fact that there is a cyclicality in the rice prices and other prices. Although the company is able to like lock in the broken rice prices for the year, they haven't given any insight for the leftover corn and other wala wheats and other inputs ke upar. And like it has been stable, but the next future is like a bit uncertain. And they are also saying that the 50% is only locked for fuel, and that too is only coal. So if there are any other that they although they are mainly dependent on coal, but if there are any other fuels that they are using, that would be like contributing to the increased material cost. So that's why I've assumed it to be 57.5. On the basis of it, there is a 42.5%, which is optimist from the last year, which saw like really dip. Now 20%, this was when I assumed to be 16%. This was me being really conservative, because if there is a 30% sales growth, and then there should be a equivalent increase in the like overall manufacturing cost. So we could take it to be around 20% B. If you want to be really conservative, we could take it around 21%, because like their all-time high is only 22%. So number is, in my opinion, okay. And I have there is I think there is an EBITDA guidance.
What
So
you should do, Pratham, is you should actually their FY23 when the annual report comes out, the first thing we need to check is what is causing this other cost, which was in FY22 it was 18 plus 523, right? What caused it to increase by 3%? So that
yeah,
annual report is it out for Globus? I don't think so. Yeah,
no,
no,
I
not
don't
out,
think so.
not out. So
Yeah,
when
like
it's out, Pratham, we can then modify this model once we understand what were the triggers for that 3%, right? If it was power, fuel, all these kind of things, you can model it to come down a little bit. So you've modeled 25% against 26%. You've already modeled it coming down by 1%. But
yeah,
maybe there is potential to model for even 1 more % or 2 more % decline. Basis are understanding later.
yeah, it could come down, but like in my like opinion, and as per the reports that I have seen of other like people, they always prefer to be a bit conservative of the models. So
Yeah, but those are people who are doing this for a living. They are not. They don't necessarily buy into the stocks that they are publishing reports for.
uh,
So I mean that's okay. I mean we should be conservative, but we should be also try to as close to reality as possible, right? So that will only happen after we have the breakup from annual reports. So
So yeah, I would just like to look into it. I
yeah,
expect it like I'm not entirely sure if annual reports are out when, but
no, it's not out. It'll be out sometime in July or August.
so we could just model it the way but देख
Yeah,
सकते हैं. That would also be like rainy season आ रहा होगा तो there is a chance कि थोड़ा हो सकता है कुछ इस पे भी. Then like employee costs like consistent है पिछले काफी सालों से so it's 3%, 3% ही. Then the other costs were assumed to be at 5% as per the like historical numbers. Okay. Now the EBITDA percentage is around 15%. There it rose from 11 to 15 mainly due to the fact that the company in the last one call gave a guidance that 15 to 17 to minimum they are expecting in this like year. Or at least the like overall understanding जो उनकी है कि we can see a 15 to 17% this year. So I've taken the lower end of that band. In that
got it.
regard, like when we calculated it, उसका एक 15 ही आया था. So it was a bit more in line with their guidance. So like these numbers are more or can be more or less on point B. The
Yeah.
other income, it's like it was 7, 11, and 8 crores, and but now it's 5 crores mainly because of the fact that when I looked into, I like I mentioned in the starting that the company was also present in other countries and was exporting बहुत छोटा portion, but yes, they were exporting it. So from the 8 crores, when I looked deep into it, there was like a 4.42 crores of foreign exchange gain.
What are
So
they exporting? They're exporting alcohol.
ENA.
Oh, acha. Okay, I see. And do you know what percentage of revenue that is?
The export? No, I don't have
Huh?
the exact numbers for the
Okay,
export.
okay.
But
ठीक है.
like in looking into the other income, there was like 4.42 from like
Got
just
it.
the foreign exchange gains. So that being an exceptional item because we can't really expect a
Yeah,
foreign exchange gain. So I modeled it at 5, basically in line with the normal, the like the normal income that they had. The interest expense now I try to work on the interest expense with like the best of my abilities. So I would really appreciate it if you would like give insight on that. Now they had a 11% in long debt, 111 crores of debt and 164 crores of short-term debt. And as per my calculations, they were giving 6 to 7%. So I modeled it at 6% interest rate, which would total at around this like 15, mainly around 18, 16, 17. Now they were said that they had an Orisha plant and it was 25% complete and 120 crores of it would be borrowed through debt. And there was also that they have 80 in the financial year 22 report around 22 and the one of the concurrence they mentioned that they have also done 80 to 83 crores of capex. So on that basis, I tried to model the additional debt that they would take this year to be around 80 crores, mainly because like from the 120 crores, a fourth of the plant is complete, and they're also planning to do other things like uh, internal financing of the projects, also some of which would be spent on marketing wali cheese. So this was like the closest estimate I could get, and at the interest rate that they guided at 4% because they were quite sure that they would be able to get 4%. On that regard, I got this number of 18.9 when you like totalize
right.
these.
So great effort, Pratham. Especially, I'm impressed with how you arrived at 80 crores out of the 120 crores. So very nice attempt at modeling. Can you go to screener once? I'll tell you an alternate perspective. So I think the number should be higher. Just share your screener wala page.
Which column?
Yeah, just go to quarterly results. Yeah. What is the interest cost in the last quarter?
7.
7, right? If you annualize that, how much is it?
Such as like 28.
28 crores, right?
Ah,
Now 28 crore, right? So now go to the balance sheet, go down to the balance sheet. So the borrowings have increased over the year from 180 to 291, right? अब लास्ट क्वार्टर में जो उन्होंने इंटरेस्ट पे किया है 7 करोड़, इफ यू एनालाइज दैट 28 करोड़, इफ यू कंसिडर कि ये 28 करोड़ इज द इंटरेस्ट दे पेड on full 291 crore because during the year debt has accumulated from 180 to 290. It's a
yeah,
fair assumption कि last quarter में जो interest pay कर रहे हैं that is more or less reflecting the whole debt which is now in the books, right?
yeah,
तो मतलब 28 divided by 291 is around 10%. So no matter
9.6.
yeah, no matter what they say, 4%, 6%, 4% is a nonsense number, by the way, Pratham.
Uh,
Because unless they are taking a dollar denominated debt or a foreign currency debt, who will lend them at 4%? फोर
Yeah.
परसेंट पे यार सेविंग्स अकाउंट का रेट है 4%, राइट? तो कोई नहीं देगा 4% पे डेट। तो अगर मैं ये नंबर देखूं तो 28/290, 9.5% मैं मॉडल करूंगा विद 80 करोड़ ऑफ एक्स्ट्रा डेट। दैट 80 करोड़ मॉडलिंग वाज वेरी नाइस फॉर यू। सो फ्रॉम 291 से 371 बन जाएगा। बट ये 371 पूरे साल में बनेगा। तो आई टेक द एवरेज ऑफ 291 एंड 371 विच इज अराउंड 331। इस पे मैं 9.5% लगा, दैट इज 31 करोड़। So if
So
I was modeling this, I would model 31 crores. Did you understand what I'm saying?
I just realized the mistake that one of your videos mentioned, that what people do is they take the word of management at face value, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I
So
did.
don't do that. Don't do that. That comes with experience, so that is fine. So I think this will be much more accurate. I'll be more like you were talking about being conservative, right? So this is an
Yeah.
example of being conservative in interest modeling, where I am going by what the numbers are saying rather than what the mouth of the management is saying, right? So that is
So
one suggestion.
if that would be around 31 crore, so
One,
like
yeah,
if you just scrap the entire model wali cheez abhi,
yeah.
so yeah, so that's the number. That like really, like if you just set it and see, that's really being a conservative wali cheez, nice. I would
Yeah.
remember this one, not
Yeah,
taking
let's
the
see.
photo.
It is also a learning for me. So next quarter, let's see what happens. Like they are guiding something, and let's see what the trend is. Yeah. So depreciation. Okay, Pratham, we have to wrap this up in 5 minutes. Gaurav and I are meeting actually, so he has to travel. So depreciation का बताओ कैसे किया है?
The main like depreciation modeling was mainly through like एक second. Yeah. So mainly through कि like पहले तो पुराने numbers हैं, then
Right.
the new numbers are it's this one is like the revenue जो ऊपर से like estimation था 30% growth.
Hmm.
Fixed assets is like the जो उनका CWIP था
Hmm.
plus like ये वाला CWIP है plus G60 is like उनका पुराने जो current fixed assets थे।
Right.
फिर डेप्रिसिएशन का जो उनका वो था डेप्रिसिएशन डायरेक्टली वो फिर लाइक उल्टा करके कि
7% is the rate of depreciation last year, right?
या
FY23 में तुमने कैलकुलेट किया है कि
हाँ
depreciation by net fixed asset is around 7%, right?
या सो
And
इसको अज्यूम करा टू बी लाइक 8% बिकॉज नए एसेट्स भी ऐड हो रहे हैं और स्टफ लाइक दैट सो ऑन दैट बेसिस लाइक इफ यू जस्ट सी द नेट फिक्स्ड एसेट्स टर्नओवर रेशियो इसके थ्रू एंड देन बैक कैलकुलेट द डेप्रिसिएशन दैट्स हाउ आई डिड इट
ठीक है, तो कितना फिगर डाला तुमने?
अराउंड 73 like 74 crores.
74 करोड़। अच्छा, ठीक है, ओके।
Now this is could be a bit higher, but
हाँ।
उनका जो current CWIP था वो तो पूरा depreciate कर दिया, but जो नया उन्होंने अभी डाला ना उड़ीसा plant that they said 21.14 is complete, that could also be like इसमें like considered और उनके जो other assets like depreciation could be a bit higher, but this was like the more number
राइट,
based figure that I got.
ठीक है।
और
मतलब if I have to do it again looking at screener, so you've calculated कि last year was 7% depreciation as a
yeah,
percentage of average net fixed assets. Now if I look at screener, current fixed assets is 826 and 100 is in CWIP. तो ये CWIP अगर मैं मान लेता हूँ कि half of the year में ये fixed asset बनेगा, right? It will take another 1 or 2 quarters. तो 100 करोड़ जो ये फिक्स एसेट में जाएगा, इस पे फुल 7% नहीं आएगा, इस पे 3.5% आएगा। दैट्स हाउ आई एम थिंकिंग अबाउट इट। सो अगर मैं वैसे करूँ तो 61 करोड़ आता है, प्लस आई थिंक सम न्यू आइटम्स में गो इनटू CWIP एंड में गो इनटू डेप्रिसिएशन। तो मोटा मोटा 61 को थोड़ा अपवर्ड एडजस्ट करके आई वुड हैव टेकन समथिंग लाइक 65। ठीक है। नाउ आई एम गिविंग यू अ वेरी रफ कैलकुलेशन कि कैसे मैंने किया है, उसको और बेटर किया जा सकता है। बट जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ मॉडलिंग, can we put 65 there just to see how the overall numbers are looking?
65 on the depreciation. So the PBT comes out to be 306, and
32% is the right tax assumption because last 2 साल से वो यही rate पे कर रहे हैं.
that's basically average of the last 3
Yeah,
years.
yeah, that is
उससे
fine.
पहले का is like too low, तो इसलिए
Yeah,
नहीं लिया था. Next was PAT, and PAT like then calculated उसके basis पे like
yeah.
percentage of revenue is 7.6, which is higher,
Hmm.
like not their old like all time high in the last 5 years, but higher than the last year, because they are like they dipped quite, so there is a chance for up, and
Hmm.
उसके basis पे like EPS भी देखिए.
Right. Got it. Yeah, Gaurav, sure. I think we are done mostly.
Yeah, so the main thing is like the back वाली चीज जो आपने कहा था feedback के लिए, I would just get those numbers and get
Yeah.
back to you.
No, so this is great. So 208 crores, right? Now, if we quickly look at the P ratio on screener, so the 1 year P ratio is around 17, the median. Current P ratio, of course, is like 26. Random P ratio चल रहा है अभी, मतलब 26 पे बैठा हुआ है. But considering the kind of business this is, Pratham, I don't think इसका ROC इतने खराब साल में भी 20% के आसपास है, ठीक है, और डिसेंट ग्रोथ प्रोस्पेक्ट है, तो 25 पी तो इसको मतलब मिलना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से. तो मतलब फेयर वैल्यू अगर मैं पी देखूं तो 25 208 पे मैं 25 से मल्टीप्लाई करूँ तो दैट्स अ 5200 काइंड ऑफ मार्केट कैप, राइट? सो दैट इज अ 40% अपसाइड फ्रॉम हियर, सो रफली, ठीक है. तो दैट्स हाउ आई वुड सॉर्ट ऑफ मॉडल इट. अब मार्केट इसको 25 देगा या 25 से कम देगा या ज्यादा देगा, नॉट श्योर. बट इफ यू लुक एट अ बिजनेस में 20% ROC, ROE कितना था?
ROE इनका अराउंड 1670 था.
हाँ, 15% ROE था इन अ बैड
13 से
ईयर.
15.
या सो नॉट बैड एट ऑल. सो आई थिंक इसको 25 पी तो मिलना चाहिए यार. एंड इट्स अ कंज्यूमर फेसिंग बिजनेस, इट्स नॉट B2B. आई मीन पार्ट
नहीं,
ऑफ इट इज B2C.
majority is B2B मेरे
हाँ,
हिसाब से.
majority is B2B, but 40% odd is B2C, right? So gross margins are decent. They are around 50%. So ऐसे business को यार मतलब anywhere between 20 to 25. So if I'm calculating कि exit कितने प्राइस पे दे सकता हूँ, कभी ना कभी मार्केट इसको 25 पे तो लेके जाएगा. अगर ये 25 उसका अपर एंड भी होगा फिर वैल्यूएशन का, बट 25 इज नॉट अ नंबर जो कभी हिट ही नहीं करेगा. तो आई थिंक 25 into 208 is fair, but the thing to understand is ये पहले इतना चीप क्यों हुआ करता था, ये पहले 15 पी 16 पी पे क्यों ट्रेड करता था. So that is one question I'm putting up in the Word doc. If you can understand from reading the thread on Globus on Value Picker, or maybe going through one or two con calls, that is one question I would like to understand. Maybe there's something we are missing कि मैं 20 से 25 सिर्फ ROC, ROE, growth, cash generation ये सब देख के बोल रहा हूँ, लेकिन maybe there is some softer aspect which is not going so well. तो वो एक बार ही चेक कर. But otherwise I think you know and good analysis यार. मतलब your valuation was pretty impressive. मतलब I'm really happy with the kind of details you've gone into. Apart from the interest modeling, I think most of the other things, your reasoning, I could understand your reasoning, and I think the reasoning was sound. So good job on that.
Thanks. I have been sitting on this company for like
Yeah.
good 15 days. So
Correct. That's true. That showed actually. So good. Considering this is your first analysis, Pratham, it's a good job done. So carry on. मेरे को अभी निकलना पड़ेगा, ठीक है? I'm already like 15 minutes late. So sorry, बोलो.
I was like, I was have to ask something to like somewhere to go. मेरी मम्मी अभी just आई थी room.
Yeah, sure. So I'll send you that Word doc on the group itself. ठीक है? There are 4-5 questions for you to think about. वो सोच के just get back to us so that we can refine this, understanding the valuation multiple or the model if needed. और जब annual report आएगा तब देखेंगे इसको आगे और.
I would just send the update. I haven't sent the valuation doc अभी तक group पे because
हाँ, ये अपडेटेड वाला भेज देना.
हाँ
आई वुड
जी.
से एक बार डेप्रिसिएशन तुम खुद भी चेक कर लो. इंटरेस्ट पे आई थिंक यू एंड आई नाउ अग्री, बट डेप्रिसिएशन तुम चेक कर लो. अगर तुम्हें लगता है 70 इज मोर एक्यूरेट तो 70 डाल के भेज, ठीक है?
I would just एक बार look into it ढंग से, क्योंकि ना in my opinion like when back calculating it on the basis of just the CWIP, even if it's not, because if you just look at the last year's figures, they have had like a 98 इससे पहले भी, and they more or less realized it within the year. There was also like a sheet which showed that the majority of the CWIP they did in 2021 से 2022 के बीच में majority of was 1 year or less. So
Right.
that was the
तो
reason I tried to the पूरा
आई
100 year.
एग्री 1 year और लेस इज फेयर, बट अभी अगर 99 करोड़ है तो मे बी वो आने में मान लो 1 क्वार्टर या 2 क्वार्टर लगेगा, तो उतने में ही तुम्हारा डेप्रिसिएशन चला गया
हाँ,
ना 99 करोड़ का। तो इसलिए
अब
मैंने 99/2 पे फुल डेप्रिसिएशन लिया, मतलब 50 करोड़ पे 7% डेप्रिसिएशन होगा, ऐसे ऐसे मॉडल कर रहा हूँ। देयर इज नो राइट और रॉन्ग बिकॉज वी डोंट नो एग्जैक्टली कब वो फिक्स्ड एसेट बनेगा, राइट?
नहीं, I
तो
actually agreed. The reason I agreed with your number was because कि I forgot the fact कि जो हमारा उड़ीसा वाला प्लांट बन रहा है ना इसमें,
हाँ,
that has been for 2 quarters, and as per like their guidance, it would take them a two
क्वार्टर
quarters
3
or
बोला
so.
है, क्वार्टर
हाँ
3 बोला है।
हाँ, so उसके अंदर पूरा डेप्रिसिएशन जो एक्स्ट्रा लग रहा है वो सारा कट जाएगा एक साथ ही,
करेक्ट करेक्ट।
so
तो
वो हटाना
वो मॉडल
पड़ेगा।
करके तुम डेप्रिसिएशन अपने हिसाब से उसको फाइनल कर लो, ठीक है, एंड देन सेंड द मॉडल। आई विल सेंड यू द 4-5 फीडबैक पॉइंट्स, ठीक है?
लेकिन फैक्ट so दोबारा रीचेक करने पड़ेंगे एग्जैक्ट नंबर्स।
या ओके प्रथम, थैंक यू सो मच, टेक केयर।
See you.
या गुड जॉब, बाय।